I wanted to share. Sorry, puppy. Self-compassion is the #1 thing to develop if you want to speed up your results. This concept has been so important, I even brought in a prop, little Ronan, to help me demonstrate why this is so important. But first I want to share kind of how I reacted when I first learned this. And honestly, when I first learned this, when they were emphasizing it, I sort of took it as a sort of like, yeah, that sounds great. But in reality, if you're too compassionate, if you're too easy on yourself, then you're going to be complacent. You're not going to really try hard enough, and you're going to let yourself off the hook. And so it's really been a learning experience, and actually experiencing coaching people through self-compassion and self-acceptance, that paradigm has changed for me. There is a condition called failure to thrive, and that is when a child is born and doesn't receive enough love and acceptance. And so even though they get everything they need, they get the food, the shelter, but they just don't receive love, they don't receive acceptance. See, Ronan hears this and doesn't like the sound of this. Also, I've done a couple takes of this, so he's also getting bored of this right now. When a child experiences failure to thrive, they can actually, unfortunately, die. And yet, if you think of what is the opposite, when you give a child everything they need, you give them love, they do amazingly well, and they go on to do amazing things, and they grow up healthy. Why are we any different? I mean, we're just children who have grown up for a while. We've been here for longer, but we're still the same. We still need that love and that acceptance, especially from ourselves. And so as I've applied that in my own coaching, I've seen amazing things happen. Rather than people becoming complacent, it almost more gives them permission to look at the things that they're afraid to look at. You know, we tend to avoid things that we don't like, or things that cause us pain, emotional pain. And so when we're trying to do something and we feel like we're an idiot, or we're dumb, or we're just not good enough, or we have no discipline, we tend to want to avoid those things, and we tend to give up until the pain of not doing those things becomes strong enough that then we go, no, I've got to force myself to do this. And so we jump back and forth. But when we can approach ourselves with love and acceptance, and can open our eyes and look at that, then we can start to work with it. We can take the time to work with it. And one of my favorite experiences now with clients is actually the first time that they make a mistake. I actually love when that happens, especially early on in the relationship, because I know that's when real growth is going to happen. Because the first time that I hop on a call with them and they come to me and they say, oh, I failed, I did a crappy job, I messed up, and they're expecting to hear, well, you know, you just got to try harder, you know, I can't believe you didn't do this, we game planned it. And instead, we focus on, well, what did you do right? We look at the positives, we look at game planning, what we can do next, and we surround the experience with compassion and love. And at that point is when I see people really start to get into it, and like, oh yeah, I could have done this, I could do that, and I'm going to change this. And that's always when I see the most traction. And from there on out, then they tend to get the most success shortly after that first call, after what they feel is a major failure. So if you struggle with self-compassion, maybe think of it as parenting yourself. How would you treat the child version of yourself who needs that love and that compassion in order to thrive? All right, bye-bye.